كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. أما بعد, one of the great principles in our religion that makes the deen of Allah, the way that we understand this religion, makes it very easy in all aspects of what's in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that we can always refer everything back to the first pillar of Islam, to La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, in which the two conditions for any deed to be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to have the sincerity, the ikhlas, and al-mutaba'ah, following the way of the Prophet ﷺ, which is basically what La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah means. So there's no difference between a Muslim that is an alim or a lay person when it comes to this. Meaning, any person has to do the good deeds. And we have to establish the different acts of worship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to establish. Everyone, whether it's a person who's a scholar in the religion of Islam or a lay person. And they're all equal when it comes to these two principles, because every Muslim, to be a Muslim, he has to say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan, abduhu wa rasuluh. So saying the Shahadatain, every Muslim should understand the meaning of it. And the meaning of the Shahadatain, something that we should witness in all of our speech and all of our actions and the whole entire life. We have to keep on witnessing the first pillar of Islam and to relate everything that we do to La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. There's no one worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is where comes the sincerity, al-ikhlas, when the heart is so pure and sincere that only seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If it's a matter of ibadah, then it is not for anyone but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The thing that many of the people, they confuse is even among the Muslims. When they would do something that only supposed to be done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, matter of worship, they would do it to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like dua, like depending with their hearts on other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on and so forth. So this is the basic principles of the deen of Islam, that the ibadah is to be sincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. The heart is pure with this, no attachment, no impurities whatsoever in it. And there is no ibadah, there is no goodness unless we follow the way of the Prophet ﷺ. Following him meaning that we don't put forward our own opinions, our own intellects, anything, but to be followers. And this is the essence of the deen of Islam. As Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah, he said, وَجَدْتُ الْأَمْرَ الْإِتِّبَاعِ, I found this matter as to be al-ittiba'. This religion is nothing but al-ittiba'. It makes things very easy. Right? And we need to keep on repeating it, because anything we talk about it, we have to refer it back to these two principles, and it would make the life of a Muslim easy. It's not confused anymore by just listening to something that might feel good, and you would think that this is the truth, just based on feeling good or feeling bad or this or that. No. The truth has to be away from any forms of desire. The truth, the ilm, the knowledge has to be before any of the desires comes in place. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكَ فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّمَا يَتَّبِعُونَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. If they don't respond to you, if they do not follow you, O Prophet of Allah, then know that they are following their desires. Once the desires comes in place, then it becomes confused, the truth with the falsehood, because the desire can make the person blind and not able to see the truth because he feels good. Why people commit sins? Why people get intoxicated? Why people disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because of the desires. When it makes the person blind, not knowing the right from what is wrong, the same thing which is even worse than just sins, when it comes into the foundation of the religion, in which the ilm comes first, in which the knowledge comes first. Once it's confused with the desire, the hawa, then it becomes a disaster. And that's why the ilm has to be the first thing that a person would first know, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one to be worshipped and the Prophet ﷺ is to be followed. Then accordingly anything in matters of the religion, and one of which manners and all of the different things in our religion. I would like to share with you hadith in Sahih al-Imam al-Bukhari. It's a beautiful hadith that gives us the understanding of how the Prophet ﷺ had this care towards his ummah, of course. And these types of hadith, which is a bit long hadith, are also part of the treasures of the Sunnah that I find in many cases we don't spend the time to read them and extract the benefits from it. It is enough blessings just to read the hadith and to see the hadith word after word and what the Prophet ﷺ did and what the interactions between the Prophet ﷺ and the companions radiallahu anhum. It gives so much blessings in even the knowledge that a person learned. It gives the more understanding of how to follow the Prophet ﷺ, which is basically our goal in life till we reach our final destination. This hadith, Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, he put it under the book of Tayammum, and he used it in other places of the book. In the chapter of As-Sa'id al-Tayyib, Wudu al-Muslim yakfihi an al-ma', that the clean earth is sufficient for a Muslim as a substitute for water for wudu. This is what the title of the chapter is. And then he mentioned this hadith, which has more benefit than just the matter of the tayammum. So that I would like to read it, and then we read some of the translation part by part, inshallah. So I hope that you're paying attention. Some people, they speak when it comes to these types of lectures, but it's very important that we go back to these sources and to always train ourselves that we're learning from the Quran, from the authentic Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and as if we are listening to the Prophet ﷺ, ordering us or things that we would hear, inshallah ta'ala, in the hadith. This hadith, he says, حدثنا مسدد قال حدثني يحيى بن سعيد قال حدثنا عوف قال حدثنا أبو رجاء عن عمران قال. So narrated by Imran ibn Husayn رضي الله عنه. He said, كنا في سفر مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. I try to go back and forth, so hopefully I won't lose you, because going back and forth between the Arabic and the English, it might be a little bit difficult. But we'll see, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. Everybody paying attention, inshallah. Seeking rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is nothing better than sitting in a gathering where we can read the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So it's not a waste of time, inshallah. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our steps and our gathering, and to make this for His sake subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, كنا في سفر مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Once we were traveling with the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. And this is by itself is a great honor that the companions radiallahu anhum, they were companions of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. They are not people that just heard about the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. They are not just people that maybe witnessed one thing or the other. They were with the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. And this level, nobody after the Sahaba radiallahu anhum can reach this level. That's why if we do not honor the companions radiallahu anhum as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us, we are in a big loss. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that a few days ago, but the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that إن من أشد أمتي حبا لي رجل يتمنى لو يراني بأهلي يومين. That one of the most of my ummah that loves me, someone that a man would wish to see me, even if he has to sacrifice his wealth and his family. This is the most among the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ that loves the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ does not exaggerate. So imagine that someone among us has a lot of wealth and his family, that we will do many things for these two things, the family and the wealth, and the person will be ready to give up all of this, not to travel with the Prophet ﷺ, not to live with the Prophet ﷺ, just to see the Prophet ﷺ. This is the level of love that is in the hearts of the believers that would make him among the best of the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ when it comes to the love of the Prophet ﷺ. So imagine someone living with the Prophet ﷺ, not just seeing him every day, embracing the Prophet ﷺ, praying behind the Prophet ﷺ. And that's why the moment with the Prophet ﷺ, from these companions, when they spend it with the Prophet ﷺ, makes that person better than the whole ummah after the companions of the Allah. So how can a person then belittle the Sahaba of the Allah? Or How can a person follow other than these companions radiallahu anhum after them, when this is the level that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear in the Quran for a person to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be pleased with, that he has to be either from the Muhajirin or from the Ansar, or وَالَّذِينَ تَبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. Those who follow them with goodness. So when we see these simple words, and if we have the love of the Prophet ﷺ in our hearts, we would really see this level of the companions radiallahu anhum that we need to follow. كنا في سفر مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. We were traveling with the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. وإنا أسرينا حتى إذا كنا في آخر الليل وقعنا وقعة ولا وقعة أحلى عند المسافر منها. Said that we were traveling with the Prophet ﷺ till the last part of the night. And then we halted at a place and slept deeply. There is nothing sweeter than sleep for a traveler in the last part of the night. When they were walking all day and they're so tired, and when they settled down or stopped to take a rest to sleep, he's saying that there is nothing more sweeter than this sleep, right? When you can't wait till you put your luggage and your things, and you're so tired that you would sleep. This is the sweetest type of sleep. فَمَا أَيْقَظَنَا إِلَّا حَرُّ الشَّمْسِ. He said, so it was only the heat of the sun that made us to wake up, meaning they missed the Fajr prayer. They slept and they were so tired, and they found themselves waking up by the heat of the sun. فَكَانَ أَوَّلَ مَنْ اسْتَيْقَظَ فُلَانٍ. And the first to wake up was so and so. ثُمَّ فُلَانٌ ثُمَّ فُلَانٌ. Then so and so, and then so and so. يُسَمِّيهِمْ أَبُو رَجَاء. The narrator of the hadith, Abu Raja, was naming them. فَنَسِيَ عَوْفٌ ثُمَّ عُمَرُ بْنُ الْخَطَّابِ الرَّابِعِ. So Auf, he forgot these names, but he mentioned the fourth name, which was Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. So he said so and so woke up first, and then so and so, and then so and so. He forgot the names of them. But he remembered Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. And there is a reason why he remembered Umar radiallahu anhu, because of what Umar radiallahu anhu did after they woke up. وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا نام لم يوقظ حتى يكون هو يستيقظ. He said that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, whenever he used to sleep, nobody would wake him up till he himself used to get up. Why? لأن لا ندري ما يحدث له في نومه. Because we do not know what would happen to him while he is sleeping. Maybe wahy revelation would come to the Prophet ﷺ, and this was the time of the tashri'ah. This is the time where the revelation is coming down. And the Prophet ﷺ, somebody would say, the Prophet ﷺ overslept, he didn't pray Fajr. Which is, so the Prophet ﷺ, this is in the stages of tashri' or legislation, or the wahy is coming down. This is perfection to the Prophet ﷺ. Because of this hadith, we got to know what to do if we oversleep and wake up and miss a salah because of sleeping. So for the Prophet ﷺ, it's a perfection, because he is in that state of teaching the ummah. The ummah is learning from the actions of the Prophet ﷺ, so it becomes a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. So he says, فَلَمَّا اسْتَيْقَظَ عُمَرْ وَرَأَى مَا أَصَابَ النَّاسِ وَكَانَ رَجُلًا جَلِيدًا. So Umar radiallahu anhu, when he got up and saw the condition of the people, everybody sleeping, and he was a strict man. Umar radiallahu anhu was a strict man. فَكَبَّرَ وَرَفَعَ صَوْتَهُ بِالتَّكْبِيرِ. So he said, Allahu Akbar, and raised his voice with takbir. فَمَا زَالَ يُكَبِّرُ وَيَرْفَعُ صَوْتَهُ بِالتَّكْبِيرِ حَتَّى اسْتَيْقَظَ بِصَوْتِهِ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. So he kept on saying loudly, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, till the Prophet ﷺ got up because of it. When he got up, the people informed him about what had happened to them. فَلَمَّا اسْتَيْقَظَ شَكَوْا إِلَيْهِ الَّذِي أَصَابَهُ. They said to the Prophet ﷺ what happened to them. He said, عليه الصلاة والسلام, قال لا ضير أو لا يضير ارتحلوا. Prophet ﷺ said, there is no harm, or it will not be harmful. So we learn from this that if a person overslept without any intentions to miss the salah, and if he wake up late, there is no harm. Because the Prophet ﷺ also said in the other hadith, the authentic hadith, رفع عن أمتي الخطأ والنسيان ومن استكرهوا عليه ثلاثة رفع عنهم قلم النائم حتى يستيقظ. The three people, they have no taklif, they have no responsibility, one of which is the sleeping person till he wakes up. This is not the intentional sleep that a person will sleep and knowing for sure that he won't wake up for the salah. That's different, and there's a punishment for such a person, as it's mentioned in the authentic hadith. But someone had the intentions to wake up for the salah, took the means and overslept. There is no harm. And whenever he wakes up, he pray right there by the time he wakes up, and as if he prayed the salah on time. There's no such a thing as qada for him. He would pray the salah as if he's praying it on time, and we will see how. So the Prophet ﷺ told them, no harm. And then he told them, ارتحلوا فارتحلوا فسار غير بعيد ثم نزل فدعا بالوضوء فتوضأ. So the Prophet ﷺ told them, depart from this area. So they departed from that place, and after covering some distance, not too far away, the Prophet ﷺ stopped and asked for some water to perform the wudu. Why did they leave that area and didn't pray right there? The ulama, they said, maybe because this was place of ghafla, place of forgetfulness. They overslept, so he wanted them to move a little bit from that area so that they would have their own active being, so that they're not in that place of forgetfulness. And it also shows the permissibility that if a person wakes up late for the salah, we know that he has to pray immediately. But this hadith is an evidence that if he waited for a little bit, for a reason, there's a reason for him to wait, like taking a shower, for example, if he's in state of janaba, or something in serving the reasons and the means for him to get ready for the salah, there is no harm. It doesn't have to be right there by the moment. So then after that, the Prophet ﷺ asked for the water for the wudu, and he made wudu. فَتَوَضَّأَ وَنُودِيَ بِالصَّلَاةِ فَصَلَّى النَّاسِ. So he performed the wudu, and the call for the salah was pronounced, and he led the people in the salah. Adhan after sunrise, yes. They made the adhan, and they made the iqamah as if they are praying in the time of Fajr. Right, so this is a rule that we take, as if they are praying on time, because it was not their fault, and the Prophet ﷺ said there is no harm. فَصَلَّى بِالنَّاسِ فَلَمَّا انْفَتَلَ مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ إِذَا هُوَ بِرَجُلٍ مُعْتَزِلٍ لَمْ يُصَلِّ مَعَ الْقَوْمِ. Are we following or still losing? The Prophet ﷺ فَلَمَّا انْفَتَلَ مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ. After he finished from the salah, and infatal means he finished, but not just finished, he finished and he turned to the people. This is the way of the Prophet ﷺ whenever he would lead the salah, that after he made the salah, he would stay for a short period of time. I used to see that he would only stay, when he would say Astaghfirullah 3 times with the takbir, and he would say Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam, tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram, and then he would turn. Hadith of Anas radiallahu anhu, that they used to see that the Prophet ﷺ would do that, so that the women in the back would leave, so that when he turns, he does not, his eyes does not fall onto the women in the back. So he would sit only for a short period of time, that is enough to say this, and then he would turn to his companions with his face. And this is also something the ulama, they say, a person is not finished with his salah till the imam would turn around, because what if he, meaning the imam, missed something in the salah, that he has to make sujood as-sahw. So when a person making salam, he should not run outside, he should wait till the imam turns, and that's why in some of the books of fiqh, you would see that they used to beat the imam that keeps on facing the qibla, because they're waiting for him. Are you finished? Is there anything that we need to do? But anyway, so turning to the people, so the Prophet ﷺ, after finishing the salah, he saw a man, and of course he would see the man after he turned, alayhi salatu wassalam. He saw a man sitting aloof, who had not offered salah with the people. Mu'tazil, meaning he's sitting alone, did not pray with the people after the Prophet ﷺ turned. That means he turned, did not spend so much time facing the qibla. Turning to the people, and he saw a man sitting on the side, did not pray with the people. قال ما منعك يا فلان أن تصلي مع القوم. The Prophet ﷺ told him, oh so and so, what has prevented you from offering salah with the people, with us? And this is also the manners of the Prophet ﷺ. He did not tell him, how dare you not to pray with us, and accusing him and jumping into the conclusion and the rulings and so on. He's asking him, maybe he has an excuse, maybe there's some reason why he's not praying with the people. Because a person entering a masjid or being with the people and they're praying fard, the first salah of the fard, the salah that the adhan has been called for, meaning the main jama'ah of the masjid, for example. A person entering the masjid, even if he prayed the same salah in another masjid, it is not permissible for him to sit in the back and wait for them. He has to join them, as we will see. So when the Prophet ﷺ saw that, he saw something wrong. So he asked the person, what made you stay alone and not praying with us? Because this shaitan can come into between the people, and people would think, oh, maybe he's not praying with us because we are deviants, or we are disbelievers, or whatever the reasons are. Even if it's time of karah, even if it's the time disliked for the person to pray after Fajr. Person prayed Fajr in a masjid and went to another masjid to meet someone, to attend a halaqah or whatever, and he found the people still praying. We know that this is time that the salah is not permissible there, as far as the optional salah. He should still join the people in the salah, and it's an optional salah for him, so that he would not sit alone. So as a rule, if he enters the masjid and people are praying salah, he has to join them. If he didn't pray the fard, he prays with them. If he prayed the fard, then he prays an optional salah with them, but he is not to sit alone and not to join the jama'ah. So the Prophet ﷺ, مَا مَنَعَكَ يَا فُلَانَ أَن تُصَلِّ مَعَ الْقَوْمِ. What prevents you also and so from offering the salah with the people? قَالَ أَصَابَتْنِي جَنَابَةٌ وَلَا مَاءٌ. There's another hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, when he saw a man, two people did that, he asked them, are you Muslims? That meaning if you're a Muslim, you pray with the people. If you're not a Muslim, why are you not praying? That means it's an evidence that a Muslim not praying is a question mark here. And that's what the difference is of opinion, whether it takes the person outside the fold of Islam, is he abandoning the salah or not. So in this hadith here, in this incident, the man said, أَصَابَتْنِي جَنَابَةٌ وَلَا مَاءٌ. He replied, I am junub, instead of janaba, and there is no water. So this is why he didn't pray with the people. Right? And we know that janaba, a person has to take a shower. قال أي النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, عليك بالصعيد فإنه يكفيك. Perform عليك بالصعيد, meaning perform tayammum. As-sa'id is the earth, what's on top of the earth, whether it's sand or the earth. The Prophet ﷺ said, do that with the clean earth, and that is sufficient for you. And see the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is one of the things that we need to witness when it comes to the acts of worship and the deen of Islam in general. For a person to see that he has been given the permission to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is a great honor, not a burden. No, it's an honor for the person to be given the permission to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the person finds that he is deprived from making the salah, this is a disaster for a believer. Time for the salah comes and he can't pray. This is something that would cause so much difficult feelings for him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it easy for the believers, that if they don't find the water and they search and that there's no water, then they can perform tayammum. This is why this hadith is in this chapter. And the tayammum for wudu or janaba is the same. One hit to the ground, and then the person would wipe his face and then his hands, and that's it. One wipe and that's it. Then the Prophet ﷺ says, ثُمَّ سَارَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. Prophet ﷺ, after they prayed, they left, they were traveling. فَاشْتَكَى إِلَيْهِ النَّاسُ مِنَ الْعَطَشِ. So the people complained to him of thirst. They complained of thirst. They're traveling and they're complaining of thirst. And when they used to travel, there were no things on the way. Although there were some stops on the way, but these stops can take a couple of days or more till they stop, and not necessarily they would find something. So they would carry their provisions with them. So that's why traveling was a real reminder to them of the hereafter in which a person has to have provisions with him. We are as if we are in a journey. The final destination is either Jannah or the hellfire. So a person has to have provisions to take him in peace and make him cross the Sirat and so on until he reaches the final destination, which is Jannah, to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so on. So when they used to travel, they would carry the water and the food and everything. And imagine a person is traveling and the water is scarce and they're getting thirsty. Right? Words is easy to be said, but of course, I don't think, Allahu A'lam, maybe some of us, but how many times we felt thirsty without having anything in our heart that maybe we won't find water. We get thirsty, but we know that the water is, close by, easy to access water. After a few minutes I will get water. But imagine someone that is thirsty and I have no idea if he's going to get water or not. This is where the real attachment of the heart and the sincere dua comes in such a place. So anyway, so they complained to the Prophet ﷺ, and the word ishtaka is not complaining. Complaining is a negative thing. Right? But ishtaka is not a negative thing. They just said to the Prophet ﷺ that they're thirsty. فَنَزَلَ فَدَعَ فُلَانًا. So the Prophet ﷺ thereupon he got down and called a person. Also he forgot the name of that person. كان يسميه أبو رجاء نسيه عوف. That one of the narrators of the hadith, he mentioned the name, but the sub-narrator, he forgot the name. وَدَعَ عَلِيًّا. So the Prophet ﷺ called a man, and he called with him علي ibn Abi Talib رضي الله عنه. فقال اذهبا فابتغيا الماء. The Prophet ﷺ told them, for both of them, ordered them to go and bring water for the rest of the army, for the rest of the people. فانطلق. So they went after the Prophet ﷺ told them that. فتلقيا امرأة بين مزادتين أو سطيحتين من ماء على بعير الله. They went in search of water and met a woman who was sitting on her camel between two bags of water, both sides. You know how picture the two sides of the camel with two bags of water. They asked, فقال لها أين الماء? Where can we find water? She looks like she just got water from a nearby source. So they asked her, where can we find water? She said, عهدي بالماء أمس هذه الساعة. أمس هذه الساعة. She replied, I was there, meaning at the place of water, this hour, yesterday. People are traveling for far distance for water. Yesterday, the same hour, this is where she got the water. And she's a woman. وَنَفَرَنَا خُلُوفًا. And my people are behind me. My people are behind me. فَقَالَ لَهَا, and as it will come, she was going after orphans. And traveling that much distance to get the water for them to drink. قَالَ لَهَا انطَلِقِي إِذَنْ. They requested her to accompany them, to come with them. She said, إِلَى أَيْنِ? To where? They said, إِلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. To Allah's Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم. She said, الَّذِي يُقَالُ لَهُ الصَّابِي. She said, do you mean the man who is called As-Sabi, As-Sabi, the one with the new religion? She was not a Muslim. قَالَ هُوَ الَّذِي تَعْنِي فَانْطَلِقْ. They said to her, he is the one, yes, the same person that you're talking about, so come along. Right? فَجَاءَ بِهَا إِلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. They brought her to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. وَحَدَّثَاهُ الْحَدِيثِ. They informed the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم of what happened between them and her. قال فاستنزلوها عن بعيرها. The Prophet ﷺ asked for, he said, help her to dismount. Asked them to get her down from her camel. ودعا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بإناء ففرغ فيه من أفواه المزادتين أو السطيحتين. The Prophet ﷺ asked for a pot. Then he opened the mouths of the bags. What is it? It's a skin bags, right? And poured some water into the pot. وَأَوْكَأَ أَفْوَاهَهُمَا. And then he closed the big openings of the bags. وَأَطْلَقَ الْعَزَالَ, which means and opened the small ones. So close the big ones and open the small ones. وَنُودِيَ فِي النَّاسِ. And then he called for people to come and drink the water and the animals. So the people came, right? This is not the water of the Prophet ﷺ or the companions of Iran. This water belongs to this woman, right? So وأطلق العزال ونودي في الناس اسقوا واستقوا فسقى من سقى واستقى من شاء. So when they all came, they all quenched. The Prophet ﷺ told them, drink and take with you also some water and drink and let the animals drink. Yani take your time, get the water, the much water that you want. So they all quenched their thirst and also gave water to others, right? فسقى من سقى واستقى من شاء وكان آخر ذلك أن أعطى الذي أصابته الجنابة إناء من ماء. And then the last of all of them after they drank, which is the necessity that they are needed at the moment, and the last of all, the Prophet ﷺ gave a pot full of water to the person who was in janabah. You remember him. And told him to pour it over his body. He already prayed. He already made tayammum, and that was sufficient for him, right? But then, once the water is there, once it comes, that means he has to make the ghusl. In this case, he has to take the shower, and the salah that he prayed is valid. He does not have to repeat it. But once the water is there, then his state of purity becomes void. He has to take the shower. So the Prophet ﷺ gave him the pot of water and told him to pour it over his body, meaning to perform the ghusl. فقال اذهب فأفرغه عليك. Go and pour it over your body. And then the woman, what is she doing? The hadith says, وهي قائمة تنظر إلى ما يفعل بمائها وأيم الله لقد أقلع عنها. The woman was standing and watching all that which they were doing with her water. You know that she spent how long to go get the water, and she's watching what's happening to her water. The narrator of the hadith says, by Allah, when her water bags were returned, وأيم الله لقد أقلع عنها وإنه ليخير إلينا أنها أشد ملآة منها حين ابتدأ فيها. That by Allah, when her water bags were returned, they looked like as if they were more full of water than they had been before. So nothing decreased from the water. But imagine the state of this woman watching the people taking from the water that she spent this effort to bring. Then the Prophet ﷺ, فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اجمعوا لها. Prophet ﷺ said to the people, collect something for her. So what did they do? فجمعوا لها من بين عجوة ودقيقة وسويقة حتى جمعوا لها طعاما. So they collected something for her. They collected dates, flour, and suwayq, the paste of the dates. They were collected, which amounted a good meal that was put in a piece of cloth. حتى جمعوا لها طعاما فجعلوها في ثوب وحملوها على بعيرها. They put it in a big cloth and they put it on top of her camel. ووضعوا الثوب بين يديها. So ووضعوا الثوب بين يديها قال لها. So after they put it on top of the camel, she was helped to ride on her camel, and that cloth full of food stuff was also placed in front of her. And then the Prophet ﷺ said to her, the Prophet ﷺ, and see how the Prophet ﷺ would tell her, تعلمين ما رزقنا من مائك شيئا ما أنقصنا من مائك شيئا ولكن الله هو الذي أسقانا. Prophet ﷺ told her, you know that we have not taken your water. Nothing has diminished from your water. Your water is the same, if not more. But Allah has given water to us. It is not you, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that given water to us. ولكن الله هو الذي أسقانا فأتت أهلها وقد احتبست عنهم. So she returned home late, and her relatives asked her because she was late going back to them. قالوا ما حبسك يا فلانة? Also and so, what has delayed you? قالت العجب. She said a strange thing, an amazing thing. لقيني رجلان فذهب بي إلى هذا الذي يقال له الصابئ ففعل كذا وكذا. She said a strange thing. Two men met me and took me to the man who is called as-Sabi', the one with the new religion, and he did such and such a thing. And then she said, فوالله إنه لأسحر الناس من بين هذه وهذه. وقالت بإصبعها الوسطى والسبابة فرفعتهما إلى السماء تعني السماء والأرض. She said, by Allah, he is either the greatest magician between this and this, gesturing with her index finger and the middle finger, raising them towards the sky, indicating the heavens and earth. He is the, as she's saying, that he is the most magician among the people on the face of earth. أو إنه لرسول الله حقا, or he is Allah's messenger in truth. فكان المسلمون بعد ذلك يغيرون على من حولها من المشركين ولا يصيبون الصرم الذي هي منه. See the wafa and the faith and the goodness to that extent. She was not a Muslim, that the Muslims had from this woman, although the Prophet ﷺ did not take anything from her. Although when they are thirsty, it was an obligation they would share even this water for a person to save his life. But because of the miracle of the Prophet ﷺ, her water stayed the same, if not more. And they gave her even, she went back with food. Right? And food at this part of the world is something that is very valuable. And then the good manners with the companions of the Muslimin, as it says here, that afterwards the Muslims used to attack the pagans around her abode, meaning this woman, but never touched her village. They would never come close to her village because of what happened between them and her. ولا يصيبون الصرم الذي يبي. فقالت يوما لقومها ما أرى هؤلاء القوم يدعونكم عمدا فهل لكم في الإسلام. So one day she said to her people, I think that these people leave you purposely. Have you got any inclination to Islam? فأطاعوها فدخلوا في الإسلام. They obeyed her and all of them embraced Islam. The whole village embraced Islam. فقال أبو عبد الله أي البخاري, this is the end of the hadith. قال أبو عبد الله البخاري صبا خرج من دين إلى غيره. وقال أبو العالية الصابئين فرقة من أهل الكتاب يقرؤون الزبور. Bukhari rahimahullah, he said the word Saba means the one who has deserted his old religion and embraced a new religion. Abu al-Aliyah said the Sabi'in are a sect of people of the scripture who recite the book. They used to live in Iraq. They were neither Jews nor Christians. So this hadith, and it makes the person feel of how the life of the Prophet ﷺ with the companions of anhum, and the religion of Islam, when it came to us, it did not come to us in matters of ease. These people, they struggled and they sacrificed for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how their life with the sacrifice, they never complained in such a way. They knew that the purpose of their life is to hold fast to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to apply the deen of Islam. And the more the person would put the effort, the more the person will gain the great rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this life and hereafter. And when we say that